Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Mike Beer. The DRF race of the day for Wednesday, August the 2nd is race number 8 at Saratoga. It's the Della Rose Stakes for fillies and mares going a mile on the inner turf. It's for fillies and mares which have never won a graded stakes in 2023. Before we take a look at the field, remember, Timeform USPPs are on sale at DRF. Great features at Timeform US. Of course, you see the pace projector whenever you see our race of the day or stakes previews. Check out all the awesome features at drf.com/TFUS101. Let's take a look at the field now for the Della Rose Stakes. Please click or scan the QR code for race of the day access on your mobile devices, which includes free formulator pass performances. The 8 through 10 are entered main track only. The 5 technical analysis, 9 to 5 on the morning line. Mike, she got wired by Evie Jets last time out. Are they going to let the two loose again?
Yeah, I guess that's one of the main questions at the race, Dan. There's enough speed to go with Evie Jets this time if somebody decides to do that. And that perfect spring last time, it was technical analysis briefly who went forward, but they wound up letting Evie Jets go. And then they couldn't catch her through the stretch. Technical analysis was off the layoff last time, Dan. Maybe she takes a little step forward here.
Let's throw up the Timeform US pace projector. Timeform US agrees with your assessment that there are other speeds if the jocks decide to ride that way. Chad Brown has entered 3 in this race. The 3, Eminent Victor, the 4, Haughty, who has speed, and the 5, Technical Analysis, who has plenty of speed, but was really rated last time out. And that decision might have come back to haunt Jose Ortiz just a little bit.
Yeah, it might have. They could have gone on with it. They briefly showed speed. They elected not to go on with it. They couldn't catch Evie Jets at the end. I guess she ran fine off the layoff there. She does have more speed, though, if they decide to use it here. Haughty does, too. One of the other Chad Brown runners, the 4. If they could go forward with that horse this time, and maybe they'll decide to do that.
If the pace heats up this time around, it could set up for the number 1 White Frost. Note the LP flag over the chiclet. That indicates that White Frost has the fastest late Timeform US pace rating. As for White Frost, she is an admirably consistent mare trained by Bill Mott. She's hit the board in her last 9 starts. She's earned 3 graded placings this year. Some might say she disappointed last time out at 1 to 5. She caught a yielding turf course, a race without much pace. She was ridden very confidently from the back that day. I think she can trip out here over firmer going.
I think she can, too. It's also worth noting that she got bumped pretty hard at the start of that race last time, and Alvarado had a steadier. She wound up last. They came in out to the stretch. She ran fine, just couldn't get to that horse on the lead. I don't think, you want to be careful, Dan, making too many excuses for horses that lose at the kind of prices that she's lost at in her last 2 starts. But, man, I thought she had an excuse last time. I thought she had an excuse 2 back when I thought Pratt just got way too aggressive with her, and it cost her at the end when a closer came and got her. Prior to that, her form was pretty good off the long layoff.
The Della Rose is for horses which have never won a graded sweepstakes in 2023. She's a graded winner in 2021. Evie Jets won a graded stakes race last year and is coming into this race in good form off her win in the Perfect Sting. Now, in this race, it was a short field, 5 horses. Technical analysis, 2 to 5 off the layoff, conceded the lead to Evie Jets, who was able to control the pace. Maybe Evie Jets used her recency advantage here, sprinting home to outfinish Technical Analysis and Haughty.
Yeah, she stays on really gamely here and gets the job done at the end. She did have all the best of it as far as the trips are concerned, but it's just another really good performance from her, Dan. She's been underrated for a long time. She's run 2 very good races this year. And yeah, she got loose on the lead both times, but in that Plenty of Grace back at Aqueduct in April, she beat White Beam that day, who's now a grade 1 winner. She beat 2 more Chad Brown good ones last time. This horse is in good form.
The 3 is Eminent Victor, who might be racing herself back into shape for her 3rd start of 2023. And you can make excuses for both of her races thus far this year. I just don't think the trip worked out for her off the layoff in the Gallarette. She caught a very wet turf course last time out and a very sharp winner in Fev Rover, who came back to run 3rd in the grade 1 Diana with a 99 buyer.
Yeah, I mean, fair to question, whether or not she's as good as either of her 2 stablemates in this race, Dan. But she ran some good races last year in her own right. It feels like the mile is the perfect distance for her. She had a huge excuse in the Gallarette off the layoff. That trip did not work out early or late. And I could excuse the last one on yielding turf. That was a pretty strong pace. She just didn't really fire that day.
Haughey won the Lake Placid last year at Saratoga in her third start of the form cycle. This will be her third start of 2023. We saw her finish third last time out in the Perfect Sting, but she raided the break, tried to come with a 3-wide bid in a race where the speeds didn't come back. It might be a better race flow for her if she can get forwardly placed and maybe just off the hip of the early leaders.
Yeah, maybe they'll get more aggressive with her this time. I mean, it does sort of feel like some of her better races come when they actually go forward with her. They did not do that last time. I didn't think she ran great, Dan, but maybe there's an excuse to be had for her. I got to be honest, I just haven't been her biggest fan right from the start. I know that she started out with potential. She ran fine at the Breeders' Cup. She won a couple of nice races last year. I'm just not a big believer in this horse, but at 5-1 on the morning line, if you like her, I wouldn't try to talk you off.
We saw technical analysis fall just a little bit short last time out at a short price. That's not the first time she's lost at odds on, returning off a lengthy layoff. It's actually the third time. Last year in her second start of the layoff, she won the Gallarette in gate-to-wire fashion. I assume she's going to be a lot sharper now for Chad.
Yeah, I think that's a very fair way to look at her, even though for the most part, you don't have to worry about this trainer when his horses come back off of layoffs. They always seem ready, but maybe that's just not the case with her. It seems like she needs a race to get back to her best. If that's the case, she's going to be really hard to beat here.
The number 6 Regal Realm is seeking her 4th consecutive victory. She won this race, the Lady Canterbury, last time out. And this was her first race against stakes horses, and I thought she looked pretty good. It's not like there was a ton of pace in the race. She sat off of the leaders, and once she makes the lead, it is goodbye.
This is a good-looking performance here from this filly. She also looked pretty good winning at Belmont prior to that off of a layoff there, Dan, back in May. That was going 7 furlongs. She got a great trip in that race, but she also finished very strongly that day, too. It feels like she's getting better every time Jonathan Thomas sends her out there. This is a way tougher race, though.
Much tougher race from a class standpoint, but as Mike mentioned, a lot of upside. She's a lightly raced 4-year-old, and she's very pace adaptable. She can sit, she can go, she can play the break. Runaway Rumor is like that as well. This is a New York bred who failed at odds on in this race. Port Washington in her most recent start. It was only a 4-horse field, but it was also contested over yield and going. And Runaway Rumor looked like she had all of the momentum here on the outside, but a Todd Pletcher trained runner to her inside is going to outgame her to the wire.
Yeah, I mean, I don't feel like you necessarily feel like she has a huge excuse here, Dan, but the pace wasn't that fast. It was yielding ground, which maybe she just doesn't act over too much, and she just gets really tired at the end. Her start, 2 starts back then in that Mount Vernon, she ran really well that day, just got nailed on the wire.
And although she is a New York bred, she has proven form against graded stakes competition going back a couple of years. I think this time around, they're going to take her back and try to make one run, hoping that the pace is hot. The remainder of the field is entered main track only. So before we take a look at our top selections, please click the subscribe button on the Daily Racing Form YouTube channel for the latest DRF videos. Top pick time for our Wednesday DRF race of the day. Mike, you're a big fan of White Frost, and maybe she's a little bit dirtied up off that last race where things just didn't work out.
That's kind of how I'm going to look at her, Dan. I mean, I'm still a believer in her. I'm going to give her excuses for those last 2 losses, which are pretty disappointing. I think she fits right in with these horses, and she won't be the favorite this time.
The technical analysis improved by leaps and bounds in her second start of 2022. I'm expecting a similar performance here. Unfortunately, the price isn't going to be there, but I expect them to be fairly aggressive leaving the stalls this time. 1537 for Mike, 5246 for me. It's the Della Rose, your Wednesday DRF race of the day at the Spa. Good luck.